At 6:07 a.m., Nurse Emily Carter tightened her ponytail and glanced at the clock above the nurses' station at St. Jude Mercy Hospital in Ohio. Her shift was supposed to end in 12 hours. She already felt tired. It had been a long week, double shifts, short sleep, missed dinners. But Emily smiled anyway. She always did. For 8 years, she had worked in pediatric intensive care, where smiles were often the strongest medicine she could offer. That morning, the ambulance doors burst open with urgency. Paramedics rushed in a small, motionless boy wrapped in a blue blanket. He couldn't have been more than 6 years old. His skin was pale, his lips tinged with blue. A paramedic shouted, "Septic shock. High fever. Oxygen dropping." Emily moved instantly. Training took over. The boy's name was Liam Brooks. Liam's mother, Sarah, stumbled in behind the gurney, her face streaked with tears, her voice trembling as she begged someone, anyone, not to let her son die. She was a single mom working 2 jobs, and Liam was her whole world. He had complained of a stomachache the night before. By morning he couldn't stand. Emily met Sarah's eyes for a brief moment while adjusting 4 lines. "We're doing everything we can," she said softly. "I promise." Inside, Emily felt a familiar knot of fear. Sepsis in children was unpredictable, brutal, fast. As doctors worked, Emily stayed by Liam's side, monitoring his vitals, whispering his name even though he was unconscious. She had learned that children sometimes heard more than anyone realized. 12 hours passed in a blur of medications, alarms, and tense conversations. Liam's condition stabilized slightly, but he was far from safe. His blood pressure dipped again around 7 p.m. A new complication appeared. His kidneys were struggling. Emily checked the schedule. Her shift officially ended at 7:30 p.m. She looked at Liam, looked at Sarah, curled up in a chair, exhausted and scared. And without telling anyone, Emily hung her jacket back on the hook. "I'll stay," she told the charge nurse. "Just a little longer." That little longer became the beginning of 24 straight hours she would never forget. Night fell and the pediatric ICU quieted, but the tension never left. At midnight, Liam spiked a dangerous fever. Emily ran ice packs, adjusted meds, called the on-call physician. Her feet ached. Her eyes burned. She hadn't eaten since breakfast. At 3 a.m., Sarah woke up crying from a nightmare. Emily sat beside her, holding her hand, explaining every tube and monitor again, even though she'd already done it twice before. "You're not alone," Emily said. And she meant it. By morning, Emily had been awake for nearly 22 hours. Another nurse offered to take over. Emily almost said yes. Almost. Then Liam's oxygen levels dropped again. She stayed. Doctors discussed transferring Liam to a larger hospital 2 hours away. The risk was high. Sarah broke down completely, sobbing into Emily's shoulder. Emily felt tears sting her own eyes, but she stayed steady. "Your son is a fighter," Emily said. "And so are you." At noon, Emily's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted Liam's for. Fatigue wrapped around her like heavy chains. She leaned against the wall for one breath. Just one, and then pushed forward. At hour 23, something changed. Liam's vitals steadied. His fever dropped. His breathing evened out. Slowly, cautiously, hope crept back into the room. At 6:10 a.m., almost exactly 24 hours since Emily had started, Liam opened his eyes. "Mom," he whispered. Sarah cried out his name, collapsing to her knees beside the bed. Emily turned away, wiping her face, pretending to check a chart. Later that morning, Emily finally clocked out. She walked to her car as the sun rose, exhausted beyond words. She slept for 14 hours straight. 2 weeks later, Emily came back from lunch to find a small boy standing shyly at the nurse's station. Liam. Alive. Smiling. Holding a handmade card with crooked letters that read, "Thank you for not giving up on me." Sarah hugged Emily tightly. "You saved my son," she said. Emily shook her head gently. "We did," she replied. But in her heart, she knew the truth.